joining us today. I know our team is excited to share some MAST strategies. Today in this session, I'm going to talk about the nuts and bolts, a high-level overview of what to expect with MAST testing and what it is. So with our assessments, we typically have before, during, and after testing tasks. And today I'm going to briefly cover these as a way to support successful administration of MAST for the upcoming school year. In today's session, participants will be able to describe what MAST is and how it is structured, understand the essential components, tools, and processes that support MAST, and identify how MAST connects to their role as a teacher or leader. All right, let's first take a look at what MAST is. So MAST is our general population statewide assessment in math and ELA for grades 3 through 8. It features a series of short, standards-aligned math and ELA testlets that are administered throughout the year. These testlets provide score reports in a timely and relevant manner for teachers and students. They also provide a comparative summative data for educational leaders and for federal accountability. This classroom up approach provides flexible opportunities for students to demonstrate learning while providing actionable data to stakeholders throughout the educational system throughout the year. This image that's shared in this slide is our MAST theory of action, which was developed in August of 2022. It was developed in coordination with national assessment experts, Montana school leaders, and Montana educators, and has been our guiding document in MAST development. The MAST test design features our ELA testlets that are fixed for all schools across the state. So in Windows 1, 2, and 3, you can expect to see a literary and informational testlet with the ELA test performance task being delivered in Window 2 after students complete the middle of year informational testlet. And our math testlets feature 12 testlets on specific skills and content areas that are flexibly scheduled at the district or building level in alignment to local scope and sequence. And in our final testing window, Window 3, an anchor testlet is administered after students have completed all testing. Here we have our testing window. So our first testing window will open October 19th and run until December 11th. Each testing window is 8 weeks long. 3 to 5 math testlets are scheduled in each of the 3 testing windows based off of local scope and sequence. And then here we can see how those fixed ELA testlets are administered across the 3 testing windows for all schools across the state. So our math testlet design includes 12 testlets. They're each aligned to a strand of mathematical understanding, encompassing a small set of related content standards. Testlets range from about 9 to 14 items on each testlet, and the question types include single, multiple choice, numeric text entry, and technology enhanced, such as matching table, inline choice, etc. Our ELA testlet design includes those 6 ELA testlets, 3 literary and 3 informational testlets for content at the beginning, middle, and end of year with passage-based and standalone syntax and vocabulary items. Passages do increase in complexity as the year progresses. Each testlet has 18 questions, and the questions types include multiple choice, evidence-based selective response, and technology enhanced, such as matching table, inline choice. Our ELA performance task is administered in Window 2, and it becomes available for students after they complete the middle of year informational testlet. It includes 5 non-scored reading questions that appeared for students in a previous testlet. These 5 items are included in the testlet to help students elicit ideas for writing. The constructed response performance task measures in the areas of written expression and knowledge of language and conventions. Students do see on their side of testing in the Kite student portal, they will receive a short list of prompts outlining what to include in their writing. These prompts align with the writing dimensions being assessed in the rubric criteria. To get a look at what students are seeing on their end, you can find this prompt in the exemplar items or the exemplar prompts on the MAST portal webpage. The anchor testlet, as I mentioned before, releases after students complete all testing in window 3. Each student receives a pre-assigned math testlet, and the math form will consist of 25 questions. Forms in grades 6 through 8 are divided into a calculator and non-calculator section. And the anchor testlet plays a critical role in test development, field testing, and psychometric research. All right, let's take a look at the tools that you'll use with MAST testing. So let's start with the MAST portal. So the MAST portal webpage houses all available MAST resources, announcements, training opportunities, recordings. This is open access. I do want to take a minute. We're going to drop the MAST portal webpage link, excuse me, into the chat. You can also grab it with the QR code here. We recently revamped the look of the MAST portal webpage to hopefully better serve our districts. We heard feedback from the field that it would be nice if it was contextualized to when the tasks occurred, so before, during, and after testing, and role-based. So you'll see resources for educators, resources for building and district coordinators, and IT. So take a minute, if you're able, to hop over to the MAST portal webpage and try it out. See if you're able to find the Kite practice test. You should also be able to find the Montana-specific Kite Educator Portal URL. This is a frequently asked question, especially as we begin a new school year. Educators have problems logging into the Kite Educator Portal. Be sure to use the Montana-specific Kite Educator Portal instead of Googling for the Kite Educator Portal. And are you able to find the test administration manual? So the test administration manual really helps with administering MAST, keeping testing consistent. And there is a testing script that is in the at the end of the test administration manuals for educators to use during administration. The Kite Educator Portal is the test delivery system for the MAST assessment. So this is where testing is managed, monitoring of completion occurs, and bundling for individual student reports. STC, so System Test Coordinators and Authorized Representatives, are created district test coordinator roles by the OPI. All other user accounts, other district users, building level users, and teachers are all created locally by a higher user role. The Kite student portal is the secure browser where students take MAST testlets. So this must be downloaded on student testing devices prior to testing. Check for updates annually prior to the first administration. This is for students, and in order for students to be able to log in, they will use testing tickets that will become available when the window opens. We have the Kite Parent Portal. So this is the portal that houses testlet and progress reports for families to access. So parents who have been connected to their student within the Kite Educator Portal by a district or building level user has access to their students' MAST score reports in the Kite Parent Portal. We have the waypoint scheduling and interactive reporting portal. So the scheduling testlets occurs in this platform. Depending on how scheduling is delegated, it can be delegated at the district level. So district users are able to plug in the schedules, or it can be delegated to the building level. and building users are able to support that scheduling process. New last year at the beginning of Window 3, interactive reporting released. So the Waypoint platform is also where educators, building, and district users are able to log in and navigate in different aggregated reports for the MAST portal. And we'll take a look at this later today. And again, system test coordinators have accounts created for them by the OPI. All other user roles are created locally by that higher user role. Waypoint scheduling. Let's take a deeper dive into what you can expect when you log in and you are part of the scheduling team for the MAST assessment. So building that team is really important. Thinking through who should be involved in helping with scheduling in your district. So the district system test coordinator has that role created for them. They are in charge of creating all other user roles beneath them to help support that scheduling process. Scheduling can be delegated at the district level or it can be delegated to the building level. So building test coordinators can be involved, instructional and curricular leaders, and teachers can help determine what that math testing schedule should look like for the year. After the schedules are developed, testing coordinators, teachers administering MAST, special education teachers providing grade level support, and instructional support staff should all receive a copy of the schedule so they know what to expect for the upcoming school year. Tools that are available to help with scheduling. We have math pacing guides and school calendar that you can grab on your end, your previous year's math testlet schedule, any high-level lesson plans from the previous year or upcoming year, pacing notes from last year. For the MAST assessment, we have the assessment specifications document and blueprints documents that shares the names of the testlets, what specific content standards are being assessed on those testlets, and content attributes. And in the MAST scheduling guide and FAQ document, there is a scheduling worksheet that is helpful to provide to your educators to gather feedback from educators when they know students will be ready to assess within each of the three testing windows. So that math schedule worksheet can be grabbed with this QR code. It has the testing window dates. And using the math test blueprints in coordination with the worksheet will help prepare for schedules to be plugged in. The final date for schedules is September 14th, and those must be published and finalized in the Waypoint scheduling tool. It's really important to reflect on scheduling not only at the beginning of the year, but throughout the year. So thinking through if there's any curriculum changes, did last year's MAST schedule work? Should any of the testlets be shifted earlier or later? And how would those testlets fit within each of the 8-week windows? Throughout the year, making notes as the year progresses so that you can remember for the following year what changes that you'd like to see in future administrations. So thinking through, does the score report reflect alignment with an instruction? Should there be an adjustment of a schedule needed within the window, or do I need to make note of changes for next year? And again, if you're a designated user who is involved with scheduling, you can expect to see these 4 steps within the scheduling tool. The testing windows have been set. You would select your curriculum, you would schedule your testlets for each of the grade levels, and then your final step would be to publish no later than September 14th. All right, let's take a deep dive into the KITE educator portal. So at the beginning of each year, the test security agreement will automatically appear for all users logging into the KITE educator portal. This serves as the test security agreement. Educators should read each of these items carefully, select the checkbox at the bottom and click on Save. KITE passwords do have to be changed every 180 days. You will receive an automated email notifying you that you need to change that. You can follow the links in the email that's provided, or you can navigate to the Kite Educator portal and find your change password in your profile. The Kite Educator portal does require multi-factor authentication. Excuse me, as a way to further protect sensitive student data and systems. In these next slides, we'll take a look at how user management occurs in the Kite Educator platform. These are the different roles. So we have our district level roles, our building level roles, and our educator roles. So the district test coordinator role is reserved for our system test coordinators and authorized representatives. From here, DTCs can assign other district and building level roles. They're able to roster students to teachers, add and modify student PMPs or accommodations. They can also administer and monitor testlet completion, set up the Kite parent portal, and view student score reports at a district level. District users have the same capabilities as a DTC. The only difference being that they're not able to add any other district users, but they can help with user management at the building and classroom level. At the building level role, we have our building test coordinators or building users. At the building level, they're able to help with rostering. They're able to add and modify student PMPs or accommodations, administer and monitor testlet completion, and view student score reports for all students within that school. Building users are oftentimes used for special education teachers or specialists that will be administering testlets across multiple grade levels. Building users are able to administer and monitor testing at the building level. They can also help with rostering, adding or modifying student accommodations or designated supports. The only difference being that they're unable to add or modify any users. And our classroom teachers have a teacher role. At the teacher role, they're able to verify their student rosters, their PMPs, provide opportunities for students to utilize the practice test, administer and monitor testlet completion, and then view student score reports for any students that are rostered to them. All right, let's take a look at rostering really quick. So why do students need to be rostered? Rostering connects a student to a teacher that will have access to their testlet and through your score reports. Rostering ensures that the correct testlets are assigned to each student. It's really important that students are rostered in both math and ELA to their primary instruction provider, and that educators check these rosters prior to testing. Anyone with a building or district level role are able to help with rostering. Students can only be rostered to one teacher per subject area, and they must be rostered in both math and ELA. Considering a naming convention that will make it easier for sorting and finding specific rosters later is important, and then rostering can be done manually or with a CSV upload. We have some frequently asked questions here. What about students who receive additional services? I briefly spoke about this earlier. Many school districts are utilizing that building user role for specialists that see multiple students across multiple grade levels, and then utilizing their classroom teacher to roster that student to the classroom teacher. When using a building user role, there's no rostering that needs to happen to that building user role as long as the student is rostered to their classroom teacher. Testlets will assign, the classroom educator will be able to view those reports, and the building user role will be able to view those reports at a building level. So just a quick structure on rostering. So if you have only one grade level ELA or math teacher that teaches multiple classes, can you put those students on one roster? You can, but keep in mind that putting all those students on one roster will impact all of those students being on the classroom report. So thinking through what would be best suited for your school in terms of what students should be on what class reports can help with that rostering structure. And then if you have one teacher across multiple grade levels in some of our smaller districts, you are able to roster multiple grade levels to one teacher. Just a reminder to roster them in both math and ELA. So PNPs are accommodations, designated supports. There's also universal features available to students. We have a supporting MAST accessibility guide to help differentiate between accommodations, what are designated supports, and what are universal features. Um, District and building level users have that ability to set a student's PNP. Teachers should verify students' accommodations and supports prior to testing to prevent any interruption in administration. So here we have a diagram of the three types of supports. So just a reminder that accommodations are reserved only for students that have an active and locked IEP or 504 plan, and it must be set in the PNP prior to administration. Designated supports are available to any student that has an identified need and uses that support on a regular basis in typical learning and assessment experiences. This also must be set in the PNP prior to administration. And universal features are available to all students within the platform and can be accessed through the student toolbox. For each of these three types of supports, there are embedded and non-embedded options. So embedded options are delivered through the KITE delivery system. Non-embedded would be provided to students outside of the platform. A reminder that with statewide assessment, supports really should mirror a student's regular learning and testing experience. A student shouldn't use an accommodations or support only for statewide assessment. It should mirror what they're using in the classroom. Okay, so just a reminder, building and district level users can set these PMPs or supports in the Kite Educator portal. A reminder that when PMPs are set, that it is applied to both math and ELA, and PMPs really should be set at least 24 hours prior to administration and then verified by the classroom teacher prior to testing. Students, here are a few of our frequently asked questions. Students with IEPs or 504s are those that can have accommodations turned on for them, provided that they're explicitly written into their current plan. Students using designated supports must be using them on a regular basis within their classroom and typical learning experiences. What if a student starts testing and the PMP settings aren't showing up or displaying correctly? Please stop testing immediately. This does qualify as a testing incident if a student is testing and does not have the correct accommodations turned on. So please pause the test, reach out to a building or district level user to check the student's PNP and then verify it that they're set correctly. Once the PMP is set correctly, it can show up for the student within a 30-minute cycle, but it would be best to just ensure that they would be in place by the next day. Many students have separate setting as an accommodation. What do I do? So ensure that the IEP or 504 accommodations that are listed in the plan match as closely as possible to the regular assessment environment for that student in their classroom. Once rosters and PMPs are set and an active testing window opens, we can think through scheduling within the window. So the schedule for the testlets has been set at this point, but educators do have flexibility in spreading out testing throughout the window as they know students are ready to test, and that it aligns in close proximity to student learning. So out of window instruction occurs, that testing window opens. Educators can assess on the specific testlets that students are ready for. They'll receive score reports. So in the Waypoint Interactive Reporting Platform, reports will populate the Monday following the week of administration, And then the reporting cadence in KITE will remain the same, where individual student score reports will generate the Thursday following administration. So after educators receive and use those score reports, instruction can continue on new standards, and then educators can continue that cycle of administering testlets as students are ready to take them. Just a reminder that test administrators must be Montana certified educators and they must be trained in test security and administration. So this applies to all testlets, including makeups. When administering testlets, make sure to use the test administration manual. This provides an overview and guides educators and leaders through secure and consistent test administration. It also includes a script towards the end of the document that educators read to prepare students to log in and take their MAST testlets. Students will also need daily access codes. These are considered secure testing materials. Please store them in a secure location until testing session begins, and then securely destroy them immediately after, as they are no longer needed after that day is over. New daily access codes will need to be accessed for the next day of administration. Student testing tickets do remain the same throughout the school year. Again, these are also considered secure testing material. Please store them in a secure location until the testing session begins. A common testing incident is giving students the incorrect testing ticket. So please ensure accuracy when handing those testing tickets out and then collecting them at the end of testing and storing them in a locked, secure location for future testing sessions. A couple things to think through when administering testlets is meaningfully scheduling testing sessions. So it's okay to set time boundaries, ensure students are completing testlets in a timely manner, and then submitting testlets for scoring. So thinking through some ways that you're currently monitoring these assessments and maybe some strategies you'd like to try for future administration. We do have some tools and support documents in place to help support this. So here we have average test timing data that is collected on Montana students taking testlets for the MAST throughout the year. So it's reporting on the 50th percentile, the 80th percentile, and the 90th percentile for each grade level. On the MAST portal webpage, we have a math timing document and an ELA timing document. So these report estimated testing times for the 50th through the 80th percentile for each individual math testlet. So using this information can help balance instructional time and test administration. Setting time boundaries for students. Remember, students do have time to complete the testlets, but untimed does not mean unlimited. Using these math and ELA timing documents can help set expectations for students and give them an idea of what to expect on the test and how much time should be taken on those testlets. Teaching first and then assessing at the end of the period. This creates a natural time boundary. And then defining that test administration session helps keep students focused and protects instructional time. Actively monitoring progress and using pacing strategies can help as well. Circulating around the room throughout testing, helping students with pacing strategies, and matching your approach to what you observe. If a student is stuck too long on a problem, it's okay to prompt them to move on, flag the item, and return to it later. Keeping that prompt brief helps keep the student's momentum through testing without providing any content help. And then on the flip side of that, for students who are rushing, it's okay to encourage them to slow down and review their work before submitting. Before submitting, you can have students raise their hands so you can check for rushed responses and ask them to go back and review without providing any additional content help. And as a reminder, just planning for makeup, students will be absent during testing, so plan ahead. Scheduling these makeups can occur in the classroom during quiet, independent work time when possible. They can occur in the regular classroom. A separate setting is not required. So utilizing those monitoring tools that I'll briefly go through in these next slides to identify what students do have makeups. These can be administered throughout the window as a way to decrease disruptions to learning when trying to complete makeups instead of leaving until the end of a testing window. All right, let's take a quick look at how we can monitor completion. So there are 4 different ways that this can happen in KITE. We have a dashboard. This shows a percent of students completed with all testing for the window. So when looking at that percentage, it is reporting on the percent of students that are completely done with that Windows testing. It updates twice at noon and midnight Central Time. We have a data extract, a test administration and monitoring extract. This is the most useful for identifying individual students and testlets needing to be completed. We have the educator's test monitor screen. This is real-time session monitoring and monitors active testing sessions and shows student progress through items during administration. Just a reminder to walk around the room during testing to support test security and helping students progress through administration. And there's a special test status screen that helps with student mobility tracking. So new students that move into the district, this test status screen helps identify what testlets the students already took at their previous school and what testlets are left for that student to take. So for the sake of time, I'm going to just go through these. You will have access to these slides. It just explains how to get to each of these different monitoring tools, the dashboard. We have our data extract, which I find to be the most efficient way to identify individual students and testlets left to complete. There's a video that a tutorial walks through how to filter that data extract to find specific students and testlets remaining for administration, the test monitor screen, and our test status report for student mobility. For our building coordinators, our authorized representatives, and system test coordinators, the assessment unit does provide completion outreaches as a way to help support completion within window. They provide steps and linked tools to help with that. All right, so later today we'll take time to really dig into KITE score reports, how to access them. For the KITE student portal, educators have access to a practice test online. And then IT really should take a look at those install guides to ensure that the application is updated and ready to go for the new school year's testing. Later today, we'll take a look at the Waypoint interactive reporting. The reporting cadence is changing a bit for the upcoming year. Most of our aggregated reports at the classroom, building, and district level will now be found in the Waypoint interactive reporting platform. So these reports will also be available sooner, the Monday following the test week. The other thing that you can expect to see is the progress report will populate earlier this year than it did last year. So last year, educators had to wait until after window 1 and window 2 to see the updated progress report with the estimated cumulative achievement for students. Now with our Waypoint interactive reporting, educators will be able to see that progress report update the Monday following completion once students complete the minimum number of testlets needed to generate the progress report. So for ELA, that would be 3 testlets, and for math, that would be 4 testlets. And for the sake of time, we're going to have to kind of skip through these. The KITE parent portal, I just want to briefly talk about what results have to be shared with parents. So testlet reports do need to be shared in a timely manner with families. So this can be done through hard copy or utilizing the KITE parent portal. Another report that is great to use is that progress report because it pulls in all of the testlets that the student has taken. It also provides an estimated cumulative achievement level for that student. And it decreases if your school is choosing to do the hard copy method, it decreases the amount of printing because it puts all of the testlets onto that one progress report. Our through year summative score report must be hard copy only. These reports for the 25-26 school year will be available next Thursday. So that final through year summative report will be available in Kite next Thursday. So this must be delivered hard copy. It is not available in the Kite parent portal for families, and a copy must be placed in the student permanent file. Um, you will have access to this slide. If you click on the image, it will pull up a PDF with active links in it. This is our planned training for the upcoming year. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, if you are helping with test coordination, you need to reach out for support, feel free to give us a call at the assessment help desk or email us. The Kite support desk is also available, and any content and design questions can be emailed to mast@newmeridian.org. And with that, I'll pause for any questions.
And Tress, we do have some coming into the chat. I think we've been able to handle most of them. One question I wanted to clarify that Waypoint is not a service on Kite. It is a separate platform. So we have Kite, that is where test administration happens, test monitoring, and then you can download certain reports. But Waypoint is going to be your new go-to for quick reporting and your scheduling. I believe all of those have been dropped in the chat, and then we can get those back to you as well.
Yes, that's correct, Marie. So that Waypoint platform is where scheduling occurs, and it's where our new interactive reporting is hosted. And it does by utilizing the Waypoint interactive reporting platform, you do have access to reports sooner than we did last year through Kite. So that Monday following test administration.
All right.